Let me just make a comment about this Black Lives Matter stuff. As you know, I did a documentary called Uncle Tom. There's a sequel called Uncle Tom 2. When I say I did it, I executive produced it. Justin Malone directed it, and we co-edited it. It's a Malone film. But I was the executive producer. And the film talks about how black people, after slavery, despite huge discrimination, kept moving forward. In 1940, 87% of blacks lived below the poverty line. 20 years later, 1960, that number had fallen to 47%. That's a 40-point drop in 20 years. That's the greatest 20-year period of economic expansion for blacks in American history. Why? Because it was rare for a black child to be raised under a roof without mother and father being married. Also, an embrace of Judeo-Christian values, an embrace of capitalism, entrepreneurship, and a belief in American values, even as those values were not being honored as to black people, kept moving forward. The sequel is called Uncle Tom 2, and it's about how the civil rights movement has been co-opted by organizations like Black Lives Matter. Now think about it. On their website, until they took it down because conservatives were criticizing it, on their website they attacked the nuclear intact family. Basically said it was an artificial construct. The founders of Black Lives Matter are self-described trained Marxists. Karl Marx, by definition, hated capitalism. He was an atheist and an anti-Semite. And of course, Black Lives Matter rejects America, American values, the founding fathers, what made this country great. They denounce it. So everything that allowed black people to continue moving forward is being refuted by Black Lives Matter, a movement that was embraced by Barack Obama. It is so incredibly offensive. And Black Lives Matter came into being not because of George Floyd, but because of the shooting death of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman, the so-called self-described neighborhood watch captain or watch commander. The jury found him not guilty. There were no blacks on the jury, but there was a black alternate, and the alternate said the jury had it right. And the alternate said that race had nothing to do with it. The jurors who spoke publicly after the trial said race had nothing to do with it, yet Black Lives Matter came out of that. They raised $90 million in short order. The leaders, several of them bought mansions. A lot of the money they can't account for. Corporations poured money into it. I've often said that whoever said compound interest is the greatest force in the universe never encountered white guilt. And the whole premise, of course, is that black people are still oppressed. Black lives matter. And if you say white, all lives matter, that's deemed to be racist. I think the Anti-Defamation League called it a racist statement. The whole thing is just insulting. How in the world did Barack Obama get elected president and reelected? How did that happen? How? And the man got 52% of the vote. And in January 2009, when he walked into the Oval Office, according to the LA Times, his approval rating was almost 80%. How does that happen? Is it because a bunch of people who didn't vote for Barack Obama suddenly said, you know what, I want Obamacare. I want to march toward single payer. I want my taxes raised. No. It's because a lot of people who did not vote for him said, okay, at the very least, he'll stop the nonsense that America remains systemically racist. And I was in Boston 2004 when this skinny guy with funny little ears and a funny name came out and gave the introduction speech for John Kerry, the party's nominee. And he rocked the place. There's no blue America. There's no red America. There's no black America. There's no white America. There's just one America. United States of America people went nuts. He wasn't even a senator. He was a state senator. He was running for Senate. It was clear he was going to win, and that's why they chose him. And I told my producer, I don't know who this guy is, but someday he's going to run for president. Someday he's going to get elected. It happened sooner than I thought, but that's exactly what happened. Now, when he ran, he gave a speech or a sermon at a black church. He talked about how much racism there was still in America. Again, this is when he was running. And he said, the Moses generation, referring to the generation of MLK, has gotten us, quote, 90% of the way there, close quote. My generation, he said, the Joshua generation, has to get us that additional 10%, which I thought was reasonable. 8% of Americans believe Elvis is still alive. 6% believe you send him a letter, he'll get it. So 8% of the people just kind of have to write him off. So I thought his assessment of how much racism there was still in America was accurate. And when Senator Obama was running against Hillary was the favorite, but he began gaining on her. And so Senator Obama was invited to do a segment on 60 Minutes, his first one. And Steve Croft, the correspondent, said, Senator, if you don't win, will it be because of your race? Now, I'm home by myself watching this. I said, let's see how this man answers this question. And much to my pleasure, Obama said, no. If I don't win, it will be because I have not articulated a vision that the American people can embrace. And I said, hallelujah. I'm not going to vote for a tax, spend, regulate, health care kind of guy, but at least he'll stop the nonsense that America remains systemically racist and black people are being held down by the dastardly white man. He walked into the Oval Office. Polls showed that both blacks and whites thought race relations would improve. When he left, both blacks and whites thought race relations got worse. How did that happen? 8 years of race card after race card after race card. The Cambridge police acted stupidly. If I had a son, he looked like Trayvon. Oh, we have our own problems. There's a place called Ferguson, which turned out to be a complete fraud. Obama said that during United Nations. During an interview with a influencer, he said racism is in America's DNA. Really? He embraced Black Lives Matter, as mentioned earlier, had Al Sharpton over to the White House 70 or 80 times. His AG, Eric Holder, said when it comes to matters of race, America has been a nation of cowards. A bunch of race-hustling, race card playing people that see the world through race-tinted glasses infuse this country.
For full shows, live and on demand, it's Salem News Channel.